Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel and welcome to Vice VGI01 against the VGI02. Vice have been making golf balls for quite some time and now they're in the equipment market. They're in the hardware market. They do the driver, they do wedges, they do putters, and they also do irons as well. We're going to be testing these two. This is the player's distance, Vice's idea of as most players as they go, and then we're going to put up against the VGI02, their game improvement iron. 2 degrees of loft difference between these, 29 degrees for the VGI01 and 29 degrees for the VGI02. I've got full video reviews of both of these on my channel, so I'm not going to go too much into the technology, but we have in the VGI01, we have a 2-piece forged construction. There is a hollow bodied cavity behind there, believe it or not, and in the VGI02 it is a full 2-piece cast hollow body construction. It is larger, it's bigger than the VGI01, so we're looking at potential center of gravities a little bit lower in the VGI02. We'll be testing at 3 different swing speeds, 70, 80 and 90 miles an hour, because these golf clubs are going to be used by a myriad of different golfers. I'll be hitting them all over the face to get the heat map testing as well, to see which one is more forgiving than the other and in what particular parts is more forgiving than the other. Let's do the VGI01 first. We'll put the VGI02 back here. I'm at a hole, as you can see, we're slightly downhill. It's a couple of 100 yards away, but this one being the 31 degree VGI01 against the 29 degree VGI02, I don't see there's going to be too much of a difference in distance between it, although it will be interesting, so we'll use the same hole to see if there is a slight difference between them. I have the black finish in my hands, and the difference between this one and the white, this is a kind of a special edition, but I think they're going to be running it going forward. It does look rather quite nice and sleek and shadowy and stealth-like, even though I can't use stealth because it's already been used, but it does look a very, very nice iron. It does look a little bit sharper than that of the VGI01 in the silver. So when you go down by the golf ball, this golf club, you can see on the top line there, does look a little bit sharper than that than the VGI01 silver. And it just does look a little bit cleaner. Every single line on the black version just looks quite nice. If anything, this one should be a fraction short, and the pin is on the front, and that's a big old bunker to look at. That's slightly toey. Not a bad start. That's coming away from that bunker, which is a good thing. Go on, bounce, bounce, roll up. You'll take that all day long. Club head speed 91.1 miles an hour, club path 1.9 from the inside, and face slightly closed and 0.7 degrees closed. That's why we had that little baby draw dynamics. Strike's not bad either, 6 mil toe, 0 mil high. I could feel exactly where I hit this on the face. That's what I do like about the VGI01. You do get, being forged, a really good amount of feedback on where you're hitting it on the face. We're going 177 yards of carry, 37 yards in the air, and nearly 49 degrees ascent angle. That is working extremely well. Feel-wise, between the two, this one is going to feel softer. It's going to feel a little bit less crisp than that of the VGI02. The VGI02 is cast, has a slightly different tone to its strike, with this one being forged, 2-piece forging, and there is a hollow bodied in there, which you can detect. It does feel better than the VGI02. Better is interesting because better is subjective. Different people want different things. And if you want a little bit more of a softer, duller strike, then this will give you that against the VGI02, which adds a little bit more to the hit. Right, go give it another hit. Only do 1 or 2 more of the VGI01 before flicking over. Safe again, that's on the left-hand side. Staying away from that bunker, we are doing an absolutely fine. You'd take that all day long from this distance. Club speed 90.1 miles an hour, 1 mile an hour difference to the previous one. Club path 1 from the inside, 1.2 degrees closed. A little bit over drawy, but again, on this hole, you'd take that all day long. We are 4 mil toe, 1 mil low, decent strike again, very, very slightly toey within 4 mil. Pretty darn decent, 176 yards of carry, 1 yard different. We're going 36 yards in the air and 48.5 degrees ascent angle, working extremely well. I do like the VGI01. I like the fact that you've got in this new black finish, the kind of the milled look that you have on the finish that you have on this VGI01 looks really very, very nice. Personally, I think the blade lengths are slightly a little bit too big for me, but again, that's a personal thing. One more go, because I do like hitting this VGI01, and we'll go flick over to VGI02, which is the full-on game improvement. Oh, that is tubby. That feels 10 mil toe. I haven't seen yet, but it feels around about 10. Yeah, give or take 10 mil toe. Club head speed 91.8 miles an hour, club path 1.2 from the inside, face slightly over closed and 1.6 degrees closed. That's why it had a little bit of a draw to it, but then looking at this hole, if you're going to miss left, do not miss right, because that bunker looks deadly. 6 mil toe, 0 mil high, so I was about 4 millimeters or so out on the strike where I guessed where it was. I could definitely tell it was slightly toey, definitely on the toe side of the middle. We are going 179 yards. That's not bad. That's only 3 yards difference between all 3 shots. We're going 36 yards in the air and 48.3 degrees descent angle, which you saw will stop on any green, but we are swinging at 90 or so miles an hour. So it'll be really interesting on the second half of the video when we dumb down the speed 70 and 80 miles an hour to see how well this actually stops into a green. Right, let's go flick over into the VGIO2. I'm guessing that the strike's going to feel a little bit more explosive in the VGIO2. Let's go see how that gets on. Days have now changed. I have the VGIO2 in my hand. Definitely a different look. The VGIO2 does not come in the black option as yet. And I do like the back of the VGIO2 because it has got that kind of vice print on the back they also have on their putters. And if you've seen the putter that I have from Vice, I kind of fell in love with that one because the color of it is just lovely. The VGIO2 is their full-on cast, two-piece cast, hollow body construction. It is potentially going to be the most forgiving. Again, we will check that one at the second half of the video. It is probably going to launch the golf ball a little bit better. Again, we'll check that one a little while because it is 29 degrees, so it's 2 degrees strong, so it does need to launch the golf ball a bit better. We are expecting this one to go a little fraction further, potentially. Again, we'll see that again. We only hit 2 or 3 shots, and it's very difficult to see if one golf club works better or differently in just 2 or 3 shots. Dimensions wise, this one distinctly has everything bigger than that of the VGIO1. Top line is very much so thicker, slightly chamfered at the back, but definitely thicker. Sole is no different, it is bigger. Blade lengths, I wouldn't say there's that much difference between the two really, but it is a bigger, decently chunky size golf club. It's not massive, but then if you're looking for a little bit of real estate, a little bit of confidence down by the golf ball, then absolutely. This one is going to give you it. Let's go give it a hit into this green and see how it gets on. Yeah, this one wants to draw a bit more. I'm feeling this wants to release a bit. That, you'll take it, better left than right. Club head speed 90.8 miles an hour, club path 2.5 from the inside, and the face 2.4 degrees close. I can feel this golf club wants to turn, wants to favour the left-hand side. For this hole is not a bad thing. Strike is really good. 0 mil toe, 2 mil low, within reason, 2 millimeters. That is absolutely bob on. We're going 185 yards of carry, which is around about 7 yards or so over the average of the VGIO1. 7 yards is not bad. We're going 36.5 yards in the air and 47.8 degrees descent angle. 48 degrees, as you saw, that is stopping on the green, even though we are going further. We don't seem to be dropping in peak heights at all, which is good. Feeling wise, you can definitely feel that this one is a little bit more punchy, a little bit more poppy. I mean, there's not a huge chasm of difference in feel between these two, but you can definitely tell that I've got the cast version in my hands. Feel and subjectivity of looks is opinion. It's what you like. It's what I like because I'm a blade player. I like the forge. I like the quiet, dull sound of an iron. Well, if you're someone who likes a little bit more confidence inspiring pop down by the golf ball when you hit it, there you go. VGIO2 does work extremely well. Got to be careful I don't go too far left though. I mean, it's just like a rocket though. It just wants to fly off the face. We're carrying past the pin, like just going. Club head speed 91.2 miles an hour, club path 1.8 degrees from the inside, face 1.3 degrees closed. I'm having to try and feel that I don't want to overturn it. Again, I've got to be careful because of that bunker, but it's working very, very well. Strike is absolutely nutted. 0-0. That's 188 yards of carry. That's a long way. We are 35 yards in the air, 46.5 degrees descent angle. I mean, that's working exceptionally well. Yes, you can definitely tell, even though this was out in the middle and I was still hitting the VGIO1 fractionally toey, so not in the middle, you can definitely tell there's a little bit more audible than the VGI01, although it makes no difference at all. That is working exceptionally well. This is 2 degrees stronger, so we are expecting it to go a little bit further, yes. But does it then not launch the golf ball as well because it's stronger in loft? We'll test that one in a sec. One last one. It is quite fun hitting this golf club. Oh dear. Oh dear, please carry. Please carry. Please carry. That's in the bunker. That's in the bunk. Oh. That is my fault trying not to go left. Club head speed 90.9 miles an hour, club path 1.6 degrees from the inside as normal, but their face 0.5 degrees open. I'm trying to hold it off a little bit and hold it off a little bit too much. Gone slightly right. 4 mil hill, 4 mil low. It's still a single digit miss, so it's not really bad at all. 181 yards of carry, lost a little bit of distance, but still further than that of the VGI01. We're going 35 yards in the air, 47 degrees descent angle. So if we had have hit the green, of which we didn't, that was pilot error more than this one. Yet absolutely this one's a little bit more punchy than the VGI01. Looks wise, I would have to say that I prefer the VGI01. I like the fact that it's slightly smaller, slightly cleaner, slightly more crisp. I do like this new black finish, the option that Vice will give. Of course, you do have the custom options if you want. There's not going to be as many shafts as you are going to get if you go for a premium manufacturer. But being the fact that it's direct to consumer, you do have the savings in the money side of things. Right, let's go give these a hit all over the face. Let's go get the heat map data done. Let's also do the 3 different swing speeds, 70, 80 and 90 miles an hour, because all different golfers are going to be buying these. So let's go see which one wins out of the two. Time to go see how the VGI01 got up against the VGI02, hit a load of times all around the face. Let's go see how forgiving one is compared to the other one. Also, when it comes to the flights as well, the 3 different swing speeds. All the information you're going to see is available on my website, www.askgolfnut.com, where we've got 90 or so irons now on the database where you can compare like for like for forgiveness and where they are more forgiving on the face, whether it be toe, heel or low. And then also the flight differences as well. If there's any gapping differences, and there's going to be an advantage in distance and peak heights, etc., compared to all of the 90 or so irons on the database. On the screen you can see we have the heat maps from the VGI01. If you haven't seen these before, these are a face-on representation of where you lose ball speed. So the green is good and the red is bad kind of idea. So you can see on the top left hand side you've got plus 22 on the left, that is the toe. On the right hand side you've got minus 22, that is the heel. You've got high and also low. If you haven't seen that blue line before, that is the turf interaction line. If you hit the golf ball any higher than 5 or 6 millimeters above the 0 point, the middle of the face, you're going to see a distinct drop off in distance. Now you do hit them sometimes off the tee when you hit high in the face, and also in the rough when the ball is sitting slightly high. You lose a lot of ball speed as soon as you start hitting high on the face. But you can go all the way to plus 20 on the toe, and you are losing in and around the 5%, which is okay. It's not doing too bad. 5% of your ball speed, because it's a flat-faced iron, is 5% of your distance within a very small margin. And so when you're looking at a golf club going 200 yards and you're going to be losing 5%, that is 10 yards of distance. No different if you go over to the heel, 20 millimeters or so off the heel, you're in the 4%. So it is slightly more forgiving off the heel than it is the toe, the VGI01. And then when you go low on the face, you can go all the way down to near on top territory, which is sort of 15, 16 millimeters low on the face. And again, you're still only losing around about 4%. So it is slightly worse off the toe, slightly better off the heel, and slightly better off low. When you're talking about heel shots, remember guys, don't go any more than 20 or so millimeters on the heel, because you can see the overlay down the bottom left hand side, you've got that red strip. That red strip basically denotes if you're going to hit 21, 22 millimeters or more off the heel, then you are going to be interacting with the hosel, and no one likes hitting a shank. No fun whatsoever. Flick over to the VGI02 and instantly you can see that the size of the green blob is bigger. The shape is actually near enough identical, it's just bigger. It is better off the bottom, absolutely, than the VGI01. It is slightly better off the toe, slightly better off the heel, but the big one is low on the face. The VGI02 being bigger, cast, hollow bodied, it's a bigger golf club than the VGI01. it just does much better retaining ball speed off lower the face that the VGI01 does. So you can go all the way to 20 millimeters off the toe and you're losing the 4%, where we're losing in and around 5% on the VGI01. And if you go 20 millimeters or so off of the heel, we're in and around the 4%, which is not too far off exactly what the VGI01 has. However, if you go near the top territory, 15, 16 millimeters low on the face, we're only losing 2%, which is amazingly, which is double as good, twice as good, half as much loss, whichever way you want to call it, than the VGI01. It's doing really very well. So the best way to see the differences between these two, how forgiving they are and where they are forgiving, and also the flight differences as well, how much face speed one has, how much launch factor one has, how much face spin rate one has, etc., is by using the radar chart. This chart is on the silver tier of the website, so you'll be able to compare this and any of the other 90 to see which ones will be better for you. But you can see straight away that the VGI01 in blue and the VGI02 in red, and you can see, let's just go by the toe first. The VGI02 has a slight advantage on the toe, not massively, but does have a slight advantage of the toe, no different to the heat maps that we saw. The heel is within reason identical, but if we are being picky, you'd have to say that the VGI02 just slightly pips the VGI01 on retention of ball speed off of the heel, but it is very marginal. But the big difference you can see straight away there is low on the face. The VGI02 is just so good low on the face, and if you are a low striker, if you are someone who thins the golf ball a little bit too much, and that is your miss, the VGI02 will win hands down over the VGI01. So average overall forgiveness, you can see how well the VGI02 does compared to the one. It is just better off all locations, especially off low, a little bit off the toe and marginally off heel, but overall it does much better. Face speed is a measure of how fast the face is, loft for loft adjusted. These are within 2 degrees of loft, but when you adjust them loft for loft, which one has a faster face? Now the VGI01, with that hollow bodied, and it's a very small hollow body behind the forged face, it is very much so they've built it to be as fast as they can possibly make it. And you can see how good the VGI01 is compared to the VGI02. The actual VGI02 being the cast one and hollow bodied, you would expect it to be faster than the VGI01. However, it's not. The VGI01 has a faster face. When you go face spin rate, the VGI01 has a fractionally higher spin rate as well. Again, that is just the characteristics of central gravity. And of course, when you're looking at central gravity in launch factor, the VGI02 launches the golf ball like for like loft, remember, better than that of the VGI01. Whenever you have a centre of gravity lower in one iron, it's common that the golf ball will launch higher through vertical gearing, and then also you'll get a little bit of reduction in spin as well, and that's exactly what the radar chart shows. So let's go have a look at how the golf club gets on at 3 different swing speeds. I've got the information here from 70, 80 and 90 miles an hour. If we'll do this 70 miles an hour first, on the screen you can see we've got the club head speed set at 70, angle attack -2 and also shaft lean at -2. This is from the self-fit tool, which is on the gold tier of the website www.askgolfnut.com, and of course you can see we've got all the other golf clubs on there, scroll through the list as well. And we've got the 7 iron selected, and you can have also a look if you wanted to, all the gap in at different speeds and how you deliver the golf club. And of course, if you need any help when it comes to understanding what sliders, where the settings of the sliders at the top, where you need for your own individual characteristics of your swing, you can get me on Discord or email. I'll put the contact details below, but Discord is possibly the best way of getting hold of me. So you can see the VGI01 with a 7 iron goes 128 yards carry, max carry, 122 average yards carry. So average is effectively when you take a nominal miss around the face, ½ inch or so around the face, what kind of drop off do you get from ½ an inch off of the middle? And you're losing around about sort of 6 yards or so rounded. And you're looking at peak height 22 yards in the air and descent angle 42.5. So anything over 40 degrees for a slow swing speed, 70 miles an hour, is what you would require for some modicum of control going into a green. You don't want the golf ball to go into the green and literally just disappear out of the back. That is no control whatsoever. As soon as you're having to use a golf shot to try and land early and then run up, you're just opening up the world to all the myriad of different things that can go wrong. You're very much so off of the green. You cannot control what surface you are going to hit, whether you hit a puff of sand or you hit a very hard bit of ground or sprinkler head or something like that. You will have complete non-control of what that golf ball will do. If you go to the VGI02 7 iron, we're going now 131 yards of carry, so we are 3 or so yards further. It is 2 degrees stronger, yes it is, but you can see average carry is only 4 yards difference. rather than the 6 or so yards rounded when it comes to the VGI01. So it is a more consistent golf club, the VGI02. Going back to the heat maps and going back to the radar chart, you can see the average forgiveness, how consistent the golf club is at trying to hit that carry. You go in peak height 21 yards in the air rather than 22, but again, this is rounded, so it could be the difference between half a yard or so, and 42.5 to 41.3, so there's a 1 degree or so difference. The descent angle, it's still over 40 degrees, but remember, these are middle strikes. If you start hitting around the face, you will start losing ball speed and you will start losing peak height and that descent angle. And 41, even 42 degrees with the VGI01 is dangerously close to getting under 40 degrees when you don't quite strike it. So this is at -2 when it comes to angle of attack and shaft lean. If you are someone who develops a little bit more in the way of flight in your delivery, then maybe, yes, it would be a little bit more beneficial. That's why it's important that you put your own delivery dynamics on the top there to understand exactly how these will fly. But at 70 miles an hour with the 7 irons, it should be okay. I absolutely would not be going 6, 5 and 4. The one good thing with Vice being a direct-to-consumer manufacturer, commonly you have to buy either 4 to pitching wedge or 5 to pitching wedge. That is what you're kind of pigeonholed to. The great thing with Vice, though, they do offer the option for you to tailor your set, so you don't have to be stuck to buy the 4 iron when you clearly don't need it, or the 5 iron when you clearly don't need it, or even in this case, the 6 iron that you may not need. So that's the great thing with Vice. You can choose what you wish. Goes to the 80 miles an hour now. You can see straight away the carry for the VGI01 goes to 150 yards. Max carry is 6 yards or so longer than the average carry at 144. Peak height is 30 yards in the air and descent angle is 47.2 compared to the VGI02's going 154, so a 4-yard gain now. There's a 5-yard average carry difference. Well, again, that's all rounded. We're talking about the difference between 4.5 yards rounded up to 5. And we're going peak height of 29, just 1 yard difference. Again, rounded, could be half a yard. And then 47.2 to 46.1 is 1 degree again. Great thing with this is obviously as soon as you start adding speed, you've got the option to gain a bit more peak height, getting a bit more control, descent angle. That means now you go all the way to a 6 iron with the VGI02 and it's 44 degrees, 42 degrees with a 5 iron, and again that is getting dangerously close to the 40 degree number, so I would be very wary of going into the 4 iron, especially at 37 degrees. That's just not going to work. That's just going to hit the ground and just carry on going, which is fine if you're going to use it for a driving iron, but if you're looking at a club to go into a green at 190 yards with a 4 iron with a VGI02, good luck if you're thinking it's going to stop. It has to be a swamp for that golf ball to stop at 37 degrees. I'd be looking at probably 5 iron on both of these would be absolutely the last golf club before I go into a hybrid or something of that nature. Go to 90 miles an hour, the full on 90 miles an hour, and the VGI01 max carries 167 yards, losing around about 5 or so yards on the average carry, 38 yards in the air and 50.9 degrees descent angle. That is working extremely well. Go to the VGI02, 173, so we're gaining 6 or so yards now on the VGI01, no different to what we really saw on camera. 169, so losing 4 yards or so on the average carry to the 5 or 6 yards depending. Again, it's all rounding difference, but you can still see the VGI02 being more consistent. Going peak height 38 to 37, that consistent 1 yard or so difference between the two, and we are looking at again, it's just 1 degree or so difference between the two in descent angles, but the benefit of doing it is 90 miles an hour. You can, within reason, use them all. It doesn't matter. You can use the 4 iron if you wish, even with the VGI02. At 43 rounded up degrees descent angle, you have got wiggle room there for the odd little miss, and going 218 yards of carry by that point is more than enough. Now, really, would I go the 4 iron even at the 90 mile an hour speed? Probably not, because I'd be wanting to look at something with a little bit more versatility in flight. With a 4 iron, for me, I have to try and hit it as high as I can, and that is a very much so one-dimensional golf club, and I like to be able to use a hybrid, which allows me the option to try and hit it higher or lower if I want to, just have a little bit more versatility in its use. So to conclude, the VGI01 against the VGI02, the interesting difference when it comes to performance. We'll do the performance first. If you are looking for these golf clubs to blend, the VGI01 blending with the VGI02, let's say for the long irons and the VGI02, I would say there's absolutely no real requirement whatsoever. There's not a big enough benefit in launch factor on the VGI02, and actually the VGI01 has a faster face than the VGI02. So blending wise, I see no point at all. There's going to be very little to no benefit someone wanting the VGI02 in the longer irons for the launch side of things. Forgiveness is different. If you are looking to blend into the VGIO2 for forgiveness purposes, because you hit your mid to short irons absolutely fine, but you can get a bit wayward on the longer irons, the VGIO2 is a much more forgiving, on average, golf club, especially off low strikes, than the VGIO1. So if you're going to blend for that point, absolutely perfect idea. If you're going to look to either one, it is distinctly one-sided. On the forgiveness side, the VGIO2 just wins over the VGIO1. But if you like the looks and feel side of things, if you prefer a softer, nicer looking golf club, then the VGIO1 is the winner. Definitely. VGIO2 being a cast, bigger golf club, it does look, for the people that need, shall we say, confidence inspiring looks down by the golf ball, absolutely it is the better option for that. Personally, I prefer the VGIO1, and especially the new black version. I do like the new black version. And Vice, if you are listening, please, for the love of all that's holy, can you make their option being a black shafted option? Because you've got a black head, a black ferrule, a black grip, and a silver shaft. It is just aesthetics, and it doesn't really matter, and it makes no difference to performance at all. But then a black head makes no difference to performance whatsoever, and it is an aesthetic, and you use that as an option, so why don't we have a black shaft? So if you are listening, try and put a black shaft in there as an option. Even if you upcharge it a fraction, it would just set it off much, much nicer. Hope you liked the video. If you did, go and give it a big old thumbs up. Hit that like button. YouTube like, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's the best button of the lot because it's free and it is great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you. Next that one is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that'll let you know next time I upload another video. Hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.